Chef forces a simple woman to cook a complex dish, unaware she is a Michelin star chef. The city was alive with the sounds of rushing cars, chattering people, and the smell of fresh bread coming from the bakery nearby. In the middle of this busy world stood a tall building that housed one of the most famous restaurants in town. The restaurant was known not just for its food, but for the tough man who ran its kitchen, Chef Marco. Chef Marco was a tall man with sharp eyes that seemed to see everything at once. His hair was always messy, like he barely had time to comb it. He wore a white chef's jacket that looked like it had been through many battles. The kitchen under him was like a well-oiled machine, moving quickly and making food that made people come from far away. But behind all the noise and the fire, Chef Marco was known to be strict and very demanding. He wanted every dish to be perfect, and he didn't like excuses. One bright Monday morning, a new worker arrived at the restaurant. Her name was Anna. She was quiet and dressed very simply, wearing a plain shirt and jeans. Her hair was tied back in a neat ponytail, and she carried a small bag that looked like it held only a few things. When she first walked into the kitchen, no one paid much attention to her. The other workers thought she was just another beginner who didn't know much about cooking. She didn't talk much either, and when asked about her past, she gave short answers and smiled politely. Anna's quiet nature made her easy to overlook. The kitchen was filled with loud voices and fast movements, but she stayed calm and watched carefully. She wanted to learn and show that she could do her best, even if the others didn't believe in her. Chef Marco saw Anna on her first day and quickly made a decision about her. He believed that anyone who looked so simple couldn't possibly be a great cook. So, he decided to test her. He thought it would be fun to give her a very difficult task to see if she could handle it. Maybe she would fail, and then everyone would know she didn't belong in the kitchen. That day, there was an important event coming to the restaurant. A very special guest was arriving in the evening, a famous food critic who could make or break a restaurant's reputation with just one review. Chef Marco knew that everything had to be perfect. So, he created a complicated dish, one that only the best chefs could make. It had many steps, delicate ingredients, and had to be cooked just right. If anyone messed up, the whole meal would be ruined. When Chef Marco called Anna over, he explained the dish slowly, making sure she understood how hard it was. He watched her face carefully, waiting for a sign of fear or confusion. But Anna just nodded quietly and said she would do it. The other kitchen workers were surprised. They whispered to each other, wondering if Anna really could handle such a tough job. Some thought she might fail and be sent away quickly. Others were curious to see what would happen. Anna didn't show any nervousness. She rolled up her sleeves and began to prepare. She worked with care, measuring each ingredient precisely and moving confidently. The kitchen was full of noise, pans clanged, water boiled, and voices shouted orders, but Anna stayed focused. As the hours passed, Chef Marco kept watching her from a distance. He was surprised that she didn't make any mistakes. She handled every step of the complex dish with skill and calmness. Sometimes, he thought she might mess up, but she didn't. She seemed to know exactly what to do. The clock moved closer to the dinner time. The restaurant was filling with guests, all eager to try the special menu. The kitchen was busy preparing many dishes, but the dish Anna was making was the most important. When Anna finished, she carefully placed the plate on the counter. It looked beautiful, colorful, neat, and full of life. Chef Marco took a closer look. He tasted a small bite, and his eyes widened. The flavors were perfect, balanced, and full of surprises. It was better than he had expected. For a moment, Chef Marco forgot about his doubts. He realized he had judged Anna too quickly. She was not just a simple woman who looked quiet and plain, she was a talented chef with a deep knowledge of cooking. Despite his pride, Chef Marco knew he had to admit this. But he wasn't ready to say it out loud yet. Instead, he simply nodded and told Anna to keep the dish ready for the dinner. As the evening began, the special guest arrived. The famous food critic took a seat in the restaurant's finest area. The staff served him the dishes with care, but the one everyone waited for was Anna's creation. When the critic tasted the dish, his face lit up. He smiled and whispered to his companion, clearly impressed. The other guests noticed too, and soon the restaurant was filled with compliments and praise. Back in the kitchen, Chef Marco watched Anna closely. He felt a mix of respect and surprise. He decided that he would get to know this quiet woman better because he sensed she had a lot to teach him. Anna, still calm and simple, smiled softly. She knew that this was just the beginning of her journey in this kitchen, and she was ready for whatever challenge came next. After that busy evening, the restaurant was filled with a new energy. Everyone was talking about the delicious dish Anna had made. Even the toughest chefs in the kitchen were surprised. They had never seen someone so quiet and simple cook such an amazing meal. Chef Marco, who was known for being very hard to impress, was still thinking about it. He wasn't used to being surprised by anyone, especially someone new like Anna. The next morning, the kitchen was buzzing with the usual noise: clanging pots, sizzling pans, and cooks shouting orders. But there was something different. People kept stealing glances at Anna, curious about how she had managed to create such a perfect dish. Some of the other cooks even came over to her to ask questions, but Anna was humble and kind. She didn't brag or show off. Instead, she smiled quietly and shared small tips when asked. Chef Marco wasn't sure what to do. On one hand, he wanted to learn from Anna because her skills were amazing. On the other hand, his pride made it hard to admit that he had been wrong about her. For days, he watched her closely. He noticed how she worked carefully and calmly even when the kitchen became very busy. Anna never lost her cool. She moved smoothly around the kitchen, like a dancer on a stage, never wasting a single movement. One afternoon, Chef Marco decided to give Anna another challenge. This time, he told her to prepare a very complicated sauce, one that required patience and perfect timing. The sauce was important because it would be used in several dishes throughout the week. Many cooks had tried before, but most had failed because the sauce was easy to spoil. Anna accepted the task without hesitation. She asked a few questions, listened carefully, and then got to work. She tasted the sauce several times, adjusting the ingredients little by little. The other cooks watched her, surprised by how serious she was. Some even tried to help, but Anna politely told them she wanted to do it herself. After hours of stirring, tasting, and mixing, Anna finally finished the sauce. Chef Marco took a small spoonful and tasted it slowly. His eyes opened wide with surprise again. The sauce was perfect, rich, smooth, and full of flavor. It was exactly what the restaurant needed. But Anna didn't stop there. She asked Chef Marco if she could make a few small changes to some recipes. She explained her ideas quietly and with respect. To everyone's surprise, Chef Marco agreed to let her try. He was curious to see what she could do. Over the next few weeks, Anna worked hard. She added fresh herbs, tried new cooking techniques, and even suggested changing some old recipes that had been on the menu for years. The kitchen started to feel different. There was more creativity and excitement in the air. Even the other cooks began to smile more and work together better. One day, during a busy lunch rush, something unexpected happened. The oven suddenly stopped working. The kitchen was in chaos. Orders were piling up, customers were getting impatient, and the cooks didn't know what to do. Chef Marco looked stressed and angry. But Anna stayed calm. She quickly came up with a plan. She told some cooks to move their dishes to the grill and others to use the stove more. She herself started preparing salads and cold dishes that didn't need cooking. Her quick thinking saved the day. The customers still got their food, and many even complimented the restaurant on how smoothly everything was handled. Chef Marco watched this all happen and realized something important. Anna was not just a good cook, she was also a great leader when it mattered. As the days went by, Anna and Chef Marco began to talk more. They shared stories about cooking, favorite ingredients, and places they had worked before. Anna told him she loved simple, fresh food and that she believed cooking was about sharing happiness with others. Chef Marco started to open up too, telling her about the pressure of running a famous kitchen and how sometimes he felt alone in his work. Their conversations helped them understand each other better. Chef Marco began to respect Anna not only for her skills but also for her kind heart and calm nature. Anna admired Chef Marco's passion and dedication, even if he was sometimes difficult to work with. One afternoon, Chef Marco made a decision. He invited Anna to cook a special meal with him for the restaurant's owners. It was a chance to show them how the kitchen was changing and how good the food had become. Anna was excited but also nervous. She knew this was an important moment. Together, they planned a menu that combined their styles. Chef Marco's bold flavors mixed with Anna's fresh, delicate touches. They worked late into the night, testing dishes, tasting sauces, and arranging plates. The owners were impressed when they came to taste the food. They praised the new ideas and the teamwork they saw between the two chefs. After the meeting, Chef Marco felt proud. For the first time, he truly saw Anna as an equal partner, not just a quiet worker. He realized that her simple appearance had hidden a deep talent and wisdom. Anna felt happy too, knowing that her hard work was finally being recognized. But not everyone in the kitchen was happy. Some of the older cooks didn't like the changes. They whispered behind Anna's back, saying she was too quiet and that she was trying to take over. They didn't understand her and felt jealous of the attention she was getting. Anna noticed this but didn't let it bother her. She continued to work hard and stayed kind to everyone. She believed that good food and good work would speak for themselves in the end. One evening, as the restaurant closed, Chef Marco found Anna washing dishes by herself. He came over and thanked her for everything she had done. He told her that she had changed the kitchen for the better and that he was glad she was there. Anna smiled and said, "I just want to cook food that makes people happy. That's all." Chef Marco nodded. He was learning that sometimes, the quietest people have the strongest voices. And so, the story of Anna continued. A simple woman in appearance, but a strong and talented chef, slowly changing a kitchen and the hearts of those around her one dish at a time. Days turned into weeks, and the restaurant continued to grow busier and busier. The guests loved the new flavors, the fresh ideas, and the way the kitchen worked together like a team. But still, Chef Marco had one question he kept to himself: who really was Anna? No one in the kitchen knew much about her past. She never talked about where she came from or how she had learned to cook so well. When asked, she only smiled gently and said, "I've cooked for many years in many places." But that answer was not enough to satisfy Chef Marco's curiosity. One quiet afternoon, after the lunch rush had ended and the kitchen was resting, Chef Marco decided to find out more. He went to Anna and asked her directly, "Tell me, Anna, where did you learn to cook like this? You don't seem like a beginner, but no one here knows your story." Anna looked at him calmly, then smiled softly. She took a deep breath and began to tell her story, one she had kept hidden for a long time. "I started cooking when I was very young," she said. "My mother taught me how to make simple meals at home, and I loved it. But later, I trained in many places, small restaurants, big kitchens, even in different countries. I worked very hard to learn everything I could about cooking." Chef Marco listened carefully as Anna spoke. Her voice was steady, but there was a quiet strength in it. She continued, "I once worked in a kitchen that had a Michelin star. It was one of the hardest jobs I ever had, but I learned so much there. I saw what it means to cook not just food, but art." Hearing the words Michelin star shocked Chef Marco. This was a title given only to the best chefs in the world, people who had spent years perfecting their craft and had been recognized by the highest standards. He looked at Anna with new respect and surprise. Anna smiled again and said, "I didn't tell anyone before because I wanted to start fresh. I wanted to cook quietly, without the pressure and noise that comes with big fame. Here, I feel I can just do what I love." Chef Marco felt a mix of emotions. He was proud that such a talented chef had chosen to work with him, but he also felt a little ashamed. He had judged Anna too quickly because of her simple appearance. Now he realized that talent and greatness don't always show on the outside. That day, a new respect grew between the two chefs. Chef Marco no longer saw Anna as just a quiet worker, he saw her as a true artist and a partner. He even asked her to teach some of the younger cooks in the kitchen, and Anna agreed happily. As the weeks passed, Anna shared her knowledge with the team. She showed them how to balance flavors, how to present dishes beautifully, and how to stay calm under pressure. The kitchen became a place of learning and growth. Even the cooks who had once doubted Anna began to admire her. One evening, the restaurant received a surprising invitation. A famous food festival was coming to the city, and they wanted the restaurant to send a team to compete. Chef Marco was excited but nervous. This was a chance to prove that their kitchen was one of the best in the city. He turned to Anna and said, "Will you help me lead the team? I know you have the skill and experience we need." Anna smiled warmly and said, "I'd be honored." Together, they began planning for the competition. They chose dishes that would show both creativity and tradition. Anna worked with the team to perfect every detail, from the spices to the plating. As the festival day approached, the kitchen was busier than ever. Everyone was working hard, but the excitement was clear. The cooks were proud to be part of something big, and Anna's leadership made them confident. On the day of the festival, the team arrived early. The competition was fierce. Many talented chefs from all over the country had come to show their best. But Anna and Chef Marco stayed calm. They trusted their skills and their teamwork. When it was their turn to present the dishes, Anna moved gracefully. She worked with Chef Marco, explaining the ideas behind each plate. The judges watched closely, tasting every bite with interest. After hours of waiting, the results were announced. The restaurant's team won second place, a huge achievement for their first competition. The crowd cheered, and the team celebrated together. Chef Marco and Anna smiled, knowing this was just the beginning of many successes to come. Back at the restaurant, life returned to normal but with a new sense of pride. The story of Anna, the quiet woman who had once been underestimated, was now known to all. She was no longer just a worker, she was a star in the kitchen. One night, after the restaurant closed, Chef Marco and Anna sat together in the empty dining room. They talked about the journey they had taken from doubts and challenges to trust and friendship. Chef Marco said, "You've taught me a lot, Anna. Not just about cooking, but about people and respect." Anna smiled and replied, "And you've shown me the power of patience and belief. We make a good team." They both knew there would be more challenges ahead, but they were ready. Together, they would continue to create food that brought joy and made the restaurant shine. And so, Anna's true story became a source of inspiration not just for the kitchen, but for everyone who believed in quiet strength and hidden talents. After the success at the food festival, the restaurant's reputation grew even stronger. More people wanted to come and taste the amazing dishes created by Chef Marco and Anna. The kitchen was busier than ever, filled with excitement and energy. But even with all this success, things were not perfect. There was a quiet tension building among some of the older cooks who still found it hard to accept Anna's new role. These cooks had been at the restaurant for many years. They were proud of their work and didn't like the changes Anna was bringing. Some whispered in corners, unhappy that a quiet woman who had joined recently was now helping to lead the kitchen. They thought she was changing too much and feared that the old ways would be forgotten. Anna noticed the cold looks and the small comments. It hurt her feelings, but she didn't say anything. She knew that change was hard for some people and that she had to be patient. She believed that the best way to win their respect was through her work and kindness. One afternoon, Chef Marco called a meeting with the entire kitchen staff. He stood in the middle of the noisy room, where cooks were washing dishes, chopping vegetables, and stirring pots. When the room quieted down, he spoke clearly and firmly. "We have come a long way together," he said. "This restaurant is not just about one person, or one style of cooking. It's about all of us, working as a team. Anna has brought new ideas that make us stronger. I want everyone to understand that we must support each other. No one is better than the other, we all have something important to offer." The cooks listened quietly. Some nodded, but others still looked doubtful. After the meeting, a few of the older cooks pulled Chef Marco aside. They told him they didn't think Anna belonged in such an important position and that the restaurant should stick to the old ways. Chef Marco was caught between two worlds. He knew Anna was right for the job, but he also understood the feelings of the others. It was not easy to change long habits and opinions. Still, he believed that the future of the restaurant depended on moving forward. One evening, after a long day, Chef Marco found Anna in the kitchen alone, cleaning up. He sat beside her and said gently, "I know some people don't accept you yet. But I want you to know that I believe in you. You're here because you deserve it." Anna smiled softly, her eyes shining with quiet strength. "Thank you, Chef. I just want to help this kitchen become the best it can be. I'm ready for whatever comes." Together, they planned ways to bring the team closer. Anna started holding small lessons during quiet times, showing the cooks new techniques and sharing stories about her experiences in other kitchens. Slowly, some of the older cooks began to listen and learn. They saw that Anna's knowledge was real and helpful. One cook named Luis was especially hard to convince. He had worked at the restaurant for over 20 years and was proud of his cooking. But one day, Anna invited him to taste a new sauce she had made. Luis was skeptical but agreed to try it. As he tasted the sauce, his face changed. The flavors were different from anything he had made before, fresh and balanced in a new way. Luis looked at Anna with surprise and said, "I didn't think you could teach me something new. This is really good." From that day on, Luis became one of Anna's biggest supporters. He began helping her teach others, and his attitude softened. Other cooks noticed this change and started to open their minds as well. The kitchen atmosphere improved. People smiled more, helped each other, and worked together as a real team. Even Chef Marco felt proud of how far they had come. One night, a famous food critic visited the restaurant again. This time, the whole kitchen was ready. They worked smoothly, and the dishes were even better than before. The critic tasted everything carefully and left with a big smile. A few days later, the critic published a wonderful review. He praised the restaurant for its innovation and teamwork. He wrote especially about the beautiful dishes created by the kitchen's new leader, Anna. The review brought even more guests and praise. Chef Marco and Anna celebrated with the team. They knew the hard work had paid off, but more challenges were coming. One day, the restaurant owner called Chef Marco into his office. The owner was happy with the progress but wanted to expand the restaurant's menu to include international dishes. He asked Chef Marco to create something special that would surprise the guests. Chef Marco thought about it and decided to ask Anna for help. He trusted her creativity and experience with different cuisines. Together, they started experimenting with new recipes, mixing flavors from around the world with the restaurant's classic style. The process was not easy. Some dishes did not turn out well, and sometimes the team disagreed. But Anna's patience and Chef Marco's leadership kept everyone focused. They worked late into the night, tasting and adjusting until the new menu was ready. When they introduced the new dishes, the guests loved them. The restaurant became known for its unique flavors and welcoming atmosphere. People said it felt like a place where tradition and innovation met perfectly. Through it all, Anna stayed humble and kind. She never forgot her goal to cook food that made people happy and brought the team together. One evening, as the kitchen quieted down after a busy day, Chef Marco looked around at the smiling faces of his team. He realized that the real success was not just the food but the people who worked together to create it. He turned to Anna and said, "You changed more than just the menu. You changed the heart of this kitchen." Anna smiled, feeling grateful for the journey they had taken. "We did it together," she said softly. And so, the story continued, a story of respect, patience, and the power of believing in each other, no matter how different they seemed. Anna, the quiet woman with hidden talents, was no longer just a new cook. She was a leader, a teacher, and a friend to all. Time went by, and the restaurant continued to shine like never before. Thanks to the teamwork between Chef Marco and Anna, the place became famous not just for its delicious food but also for its warm and friendly kitchen. People from far and wide came to taste the unique dishes and to feel the special energy that filled the room. Anna's story was now well known in the kitchen and beyond. She had grown from the quiet new worker into a respected leader who had changed the entire restaurant. But Anna never let fame change her. She still worked quietly, always focusing on the food and the happiness it brought to others. One day, Chef Marco called Anna into his office. He had a serious look on his face, but there was a smile in his eyes. "Anna," he said, "there's something I want to tell you. I was wrong about you when you first came here. I thought you were just a simple woman with no experience. But now, I see that you are one of the best chefs I have ever worked with. You have changed me and this kitchen in ways I didn't expect." Anna smiled softly. "Thank you, chef. That means a lot to me." Chef Marco continued, "I want to make it official. I want you to be my partner in this kitchen. From now on, you and I will lead this restaurant together." Anna's eyes filled with tears, not because she was sad, but because she was deeply touched. She had never dreamed of being recognized like this, especially by someone as proud and strong as Chef Marco. "Thank you," she said quietly. "I'm ready." From that day, the kitchen felt even stronger. Chef Marco and Anna worked side by side, supporting each other and inspiring the whole team. They listened to the cooks, helped when needed, and shared their passion for food. But life, as always, brought new challenges. One afternoon, a big problem arrived suddenly. The restaurant was hosting a large event for important guests from the city. Everyone was working hard to prepare, but just a few hours before the event, a delivery of fresh vegetables was lost. Without those vegetables, many dishes could not be made. The kitchen staff started to panic. How could they serve such an important group without fresh ingredients? Anna stayed calm. She looked at Chef Marco and said, "We can fix this. Let's think about what we have and create new dishes." Together, they quickly checked the pantry and refrigerator. They found some fresh herbs, rice, and other ingredients that could be used. Anna began to think creatively, combining flavors in new ways. Chef Marco helped, giving ideas and encouragement. The cooks followed Anna's lead. They chopped, cooked, and plated dishes with speed and care. It was hard work, but no one complained. Everyone wanted the event to be a success. When the guests arrived, they were surprised by the fresh, beautiful food in front of them. The dishes were different from the usual menu but full of flavor and color. The guests smiled and complimented the chefs for their creativity. After the event, Chef Marco praised the team. "Today, you all showed what it means to be a real team, working together, staying calm, and making the best of any situation." Anna looked around at her team and felt proud. She knew that moments like these were what made the kitchen special. Life at the restaurant continued with many happy days, but also some tough ones. Through it all, Anna and Chef Marco kept learning from each other. Anna helped Chef Marco soften his strict ways, teaching him to trust others more. Chef Marco helped Anna become more confident in leading and making big decisions. One quiet evening, Anna received a letter. It was an invitation to return to the prestigious Michelin-starred restaurant where she had worked before. They wanted her back, offering her a chance to lead their kitchen. Anna thought about it carefully. It was a great honor, but she also thought about everything she had built here: the team, the restaurant, and her friendship with Chef Marco. She went to Chef Marco and shared the news. He listened quietly and then said, "Anna, whatever you choose, I will support you. But I hope you know that this kitchen will always be your home." Anna smiled, feeling grateful. "Thank you, Chef. I think I've found my place here." She decided to stay. Her heart was with this kitchen and the people who had become like family. Years passed, and the restaurant won many awards. Anna and Chef Marco's partnership became a story told in cooking schools and restaurants around the city. They showed that respect, patience, and teamwork could turn even the most unlikely people into stars. One day, as Anna walked through the kitchen, she saw a young, nervous cook starting her first day. The woman reminded Anna of herself when she first arrived: quiet, simple, and unsure. Anna smiled and walked over to her. "Welcome," she said kindly. "I'm here to help you. Cooking is not just about food, it's about love and sharing. You can do this." The young cook looked up, eyes wide with hope. Anna knew that the kitchen's story would continue, with new faces and new dreams. And so, the story of Anna, the simple woman who turned out to be a Michelin star chef, lived on. Not just in the dishes she created, but in the hearts she touched and the people she inspired. The kitchen was no longer just a place to cook, it was a place to grow, to learn, and to believe in the power of kindness and talent hidden beneath a quiet smile.